what is a song that reminds you of your childhood?
The Boys of Summer by Don Henley.
Which means you really had quite the, cinematic American Graffiti kind of childhood, I guess, right?
Maybe in my fantasies when I was listening to the song, but it's more that it's just it's a sound that was part of my environment before I was even like a conscious person. So the nostalgia for it is at like a really visceral level of sensation, beyond like specific memory or anything. It's just like, that feeling it triggers in you when you hear it.
Yeah. It's a real dad song.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like, my dad listened to a lot of Don Henley, but like I actually didn't know it was Don Henley. Because he would play all these songs on guitar. And that was mostly where, I'm sure I was also hearing them. Like, we had a radio in the kitchen, but I think I keyed into them more when he was playing them. And it was years before I connected that, like, Heart of the Matter, or whatever that song is, that was a Don Henley song, because I just knew it as a song my dad would sing. So when you are imagining when you hear Boys of Summer, what is the kind of like imagery of your childhood that's coming into your head?
There's so little of my own. I probably just being in the car with my dad, just driving somewhere and it's on. But like immediately, that's like the imagery of the song kind of replaces my own experience.
Where would you be going with your dad?
Oh, probably out for a hike somewhere, or maybe on a trip to the beach.
That's good.
Yeah.
For me, it was like we were going to run errands somewhere, but I knew he was going to stop for cigarettes at the general store, and I'd be able to get a candy bar.
Nice.
See the Jackson make many mothers becoming mourners, sons ducking and dodging the cuffs and the fucking warmings. I seen the best of them niggas go turning informant. Dang, shit is more than just an observation. Too many lost souls stuck within the population. It's like the older folks don't feel it is an obligation to teach the youth and inform them about cooperation. It's from the school of hard knocks to the block scholars.
What song do you consider to be an all-time favorite?
So many choices here, but I went with Echoes by Pink Floyd.
Yes, and this song is 23 minutes long.
Yeah. This was an introduction for me to all kinds of sounds and song structure that I never knew existed before. And listening to it like in high school or, growing up, it was like such a transformational experience, like you really felt like you were reaching something deeper with it.
Yeah. So that's about what it was, like high school when you heard that?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's kind of cool that you were able to, think about songs and song structures at the Pink Floyd level at that point already. I don't even know that I'm at that level yet.
Yeah, that was like classic rock was like pretty much the only thing I listened to until I was in college. I had no connection to the music of like my time growing up. So I'm kind of like, in a lot of ways through you and Bright Eyes, like coming back to stuff that was happening, during my youth.
That's fun. Yeah, well, like for me, I think I was listening mostly I was actually just talking to a friend about this over the weekend. I started listening to like Blink-182 and Green Day first. That was like my chosen music as I started to play music. And that music is so like primary color, it's like just power chords and very few instruments, very simple structures. And so I could grasp that really easily. But then it became really hard for me to understand like how people were making other music. Like even pop punk bands that were just a little bit more advanced with like their chords and guitars and stuff, like Saves the Day. I would hear this music and I'd be like, I don't know how they're doing this. Because like I only knew what I could do with a guitar, which was roughly what like the guys in Green Day and Blink-182 could also do.
Yeah. I was the kind of the opposite. I was an extremely pretentious child, so I gravitated towards like the most complicated, like technically proficient music I could find. But, that's kind of a losing game because there's always going to be something that's more complicated that you're going to have to pretend to like. And then you're also going to have to pretend like you don't like AC/DC or something. That was like my breaking point. It was like, am I really going to sit here and pretend like I don't like incredibly stupid song that just rocks so hard. Like, why would I deny myself that experience?
So now, here's my question about a 23-minute song.
Yeah.
It's an all-time favorite of yours.
Yes.
How often do you carve out the space to listen to it?
Almost never.
Yeah.
That's a big theme with like the songs that I really treasure that have like the best, because when you really like, when a song has that much impact on you, I feel like you can't listen to it all the time, right? You're either going to dull that experience or it's going to completely take over your whole day, which is going to be a point to come back to for one of these songs later.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to those really long songs, like for a while there, I was listening to the Velvet Underground song Sister Ray a lot, which is 19 minutes. And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, this is taking up too much time on like a playlist, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if we were actually doing a physical mixtape here, there'd be a big chunk of one side. But there's something about that that's also kind of adventurous. You know, I like that idea. It's like a TV show where there's one really long take, like right in the middle, but sort of nothing surrounding it that would cause you to expect that.
I'ma call that clubhouse, nah, I'ma call that Russ house. Baby fat with the ass and the buns out. Let me see how you walk, let me see how you talk, let me see what you got, what you on about. And he not like me, I'ma knock it out. And I'm so icy, I'ma rock it out. Me. All she want is DDD. Guess that mean you're a freak for D. Got my rings on, Mysterio. She like, ooh, kill him, Rotario. And she better than area. I'ma jump at that, dumping that cereal.
So my third question then is, what song are you listening to a lot right now?
For Sure by Future Islands. This song, I just slaps so hard for me. And I love, one of the things that like really like this flashy object you can dangle in front of me when it comes to music is when you have like two instruments that kind of blend together over the same melody or sequence. Like in this song, there's like that one line that they come to at the end of the verse that like it starts off as like what sounds like synthesizers, and then it's played again by like a guitar, and like I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and they kind of go back and forth. This is Stand For Me song when they did that stuff, really effectively too.
Yeah, that's actually a really fun thing to do, like when you're like recording, you know, if I'm like recording background music for this podcast, even, it's like you play around with like the same melody, you know, on a few different instruments, maybe at the same time, because it's that thing where it starts to escape your ability to wrap your arms around it mentally. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't know what I'm hearing. And it's so funny because when Morgan and I talk about like old Bright Eyes songs, sometimes we always get really hung up on like, I can't tell what that is.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that like a teapot that they like are manipulating? And it's like, you know, it's interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I do enjoy that. And I think that I like Future Islands too, because that singer guy, you know, they sort of became famous when they performed on Letterman, and he was like so wildly kinetic with his movements. But what I think is funny is, even if you've never seen him before, you can kind of tell. Yeah. Like when you listen to it, you're like, you just kind of picture him even in the recording booth doing that. Mm-hmm. He sounds like he's moving while he's singing. He probably does. He probably is. Yeah. You know, when they're recording it.
Oh yeah.
That's something that, when it comes to recording music, actually, that's something that, I don't know if you're like you compare like live music to recorded music kind of person.
Oh, for sure.
But there are certain bands who can kind of bridge that gap, and then there are certain bands who can't. Mm-hmm. Where you're almost like, I wish you only just did live recordings. Yeah. You know? Because it's like the energy is there more. Uh-huh. And it can be a problem sometimes if you hear a song back in the old LimeWire days, you know, you'd be able to hear like a new Blink-182 and Phoenix TX, all those pop punk bands. You get these leaked live recordings of their songs, and you hear those first. And then you would hear like the studio version. It would just be it would sound kind of languid.
I had that experience with a Jimi Hendrix song that's like one of my all-time favorites. I Don't Live Today. Like there are some live recordings of that are like the hardest rocking thing I've ever heard. But then on the album, the studio album, it's just like this weird like little funky throwaway thing.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, it's right now actually I've been listening a lot to the Bob Dylan Rolling Thunder Review version of A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, which, you know, is just this nice little folky song back in like 1963, but it's this, the Rolling Thunder Review version is like this really rowdy, rollicking, like sounds like people are jumping up on stage and falling off kind of song. And there's just, I mean, I don't think you can meet that kind of energy.
Then it's a high, well it's a high, well it's a high, and it's a high, well it's a hard rain gonna fall.
You mentioned San Fermin, like that was a band that I first heard live. Like I hadn't heard, I think, any of their songs before I saw them perform, but they trade the like energy of a live performance for like something that's a little more like operatic in the recordings.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they have two different gears, so it works. All right, so, and by the way, I think there's probably, do Future Islands have any sad songs? I don't think I've ever heard one. There's a few that are like lower energy.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's so peppy. Everything's so peppy from them. It's great.
Yeah, that guy. I'm trying to imagine like what kind of creature he kind of sounds like. Like, is he like a cartoon dragon? Is he like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what's
yeah. I imagined him as like an 80-year-old cowboy when I first heard him.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny too when sometimes you think someone is old based on their voice. The lead singer of the band Murder by Death is like just a regular, I mean, there's no regular age, but like he's like the normal age of a person in a band. But he sounds like Johnny Cash a year before he died.
Yeah.
So like I was like, how is this possible? You know? I think maybe he's like from the South. That's one main thing. It's like dudes from the South they have the ability to sing and sound old long before they actually are.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But people from the Northeast do not have that ability.
A girl came in the night. She brought me a fever. She laid her hands upon my head till I was burning up. I woke alone.
All right, so what is a song that lifts your mood?
Late Night by ODESZA.
I was wondering about how to pronounce that too.
I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe it's Polish, ODESZA.
When I was on a flight a few years ago and, you know, just had like the big headphones on, like going through turbulence, letting like whatever comes up on shuffle come, and like this popped up, and I don't know why, but it found it very calming through that experience. And now every time I fly, I have to listen to this in order to like, you know, stay in like a positive mindset whenever the plane starts rocking.
Interesting. So this is a tool for a very specific job.
Absolutely. I don't really listen, and I think I specifically don't listen to it in any other context so that it doesn't lose that effect.
Oh, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
There are certain songs that I feel like I only put on when I can tell I'm like spiraling and I need something to kind of like pull me out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I deploy a lot of Bruce Springsteen for that. But I thought it was interesting that this was, okay, putting it in the context, because when I heard that song, I was like, oh, this is interesting that this is like a mood-lifting song for him, because it's very, like, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way.
Yeah.
It's very synthetic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's kind of got this, it's got this kind of computery sheen to it, you know? And I like personally don't think of that as a mood lifting thing, because for whatever reason, for me, there's I need it to be a little sweaty. You know what I mean? Like I need like for the music that really gets me pumped, I need to like think about the people like making it and like working hard and like the effort and the excitement and everything. Now, that isn't to say you can't do that when you're creating like computer music. Like I have done that, making like computer music where I'm like, oh, I'm like really feeling this, you know, this is cool. But I was very curious about that and how that, under what context that lifted your mood. But the airplane thing really makes sense.
I definitely have something closer to your experience and preference generally. So like I would always go to like the band for something like that, because I get that exact, because you feels like you're there in the room with them, like waiting for your part to like jump in, right?
Yeah, it's legible.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, cool. So let's talk about what is a song that makes you sad or sustains a sad feeling.
Yeah.
Like, this was part of my problem, was I was like, I mean, people don't necessarily put on a song intentionally to depress themselves.
This is one for me. This song, I mean, this is All for the Best. This version is performed by Thom Yorke, but I guess the song's originally by a guy called Mark Mulcahy. I can't listen to this song without just completely losing control, bawling my eyes out, crying. It just absolutely guts me every time I hear it. Like it's devastating. I think it's such a well written song in the way that it does that, in the way that it like brings you into an experience of loss and grief. And for me, I often feel very closed out to big emotions when it comes to like feeling sadness or feeling loss. Like there's just some like internal wall that I feel like in life, you know, I have trouble accessing that stuff. But when it comes to music or to art, it's a way for me to enter into those feelings. So when I listen to this, I feel like I'm able to access all of like this sadness and loss that I've experienced all throughout my life, that I've, you know, unintentionally cut myself off of. Is like just all like the doors open, and I'm also able to recognize that in another person too. So I feel like a real human connection to people through songs.
On the porch, he told me it's a long way to go before we can rest.
Well, first of all, I totally get the not really being able to process emotions except for through artistic expression or the artistic expression of others.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Yep.
And yeah, it's interesting to think about that idea, right? Because you're talking about this, I don't know, externalizing your emotions or feeling them reflected back at you through something else. And here you're talking about a song performed by Thom Yorke, who is a person we traditionally associate with writing his own songs, who in this case is not performing his own song, right? So he is kind of maybe doing the same thing, right? And maybe that's what you're picking up on.
Yeah, and I think that's
Thom Yorke can put a little more into it.
Oh yeah, I think that's reflected in the performance too, because it starts out with this like electronic beat that's like very standard Thom Yorke sound, and then that kind of gives way to these synths, and the tempo or the rhythm of it changes up to like match that, and now it becomes this very kind of soft song where it's like, and I think what I really love about it is there is like no subtlety here. He's just going for like the most devastating like lines and imagery that he can like find for the lyrics here, and it gets to this point where these massive like screaming guitars just like come in like out of nowhere, and so I feel like there's this quiet, reserved sadness for the first part, but then when the guitars come in, you have the like that kind of anger or rage, I think, that is also a part of like of loss. It's like anger at the world, the universe, whatever, that like this experience has happened.
Say you love me. Say you love me. Say you love me. Say you love me.
Well, I think you kind of centered in on something that's pretty cool about music and the way that it can. We actually just identified like a much weirder way that music can help you, can kind of like enhance an emotional experience, and that's like with this idea of like reinterpretation, right? Like we're reinterpreting our own emotions through a song, but the artist is also reinterpreting somebody else's song, and all of that context is in there, even if you're not aware what you're listening to is a cover.
Yeah.
But at a much more basic level, right? You can have this sad song where the lyrics and the vocals are kind of playing one role, reflecting one feeling, and then some other element, like in this case the guitars, are reflecting like a different version of the same set of feelings.
Yeah.
In a very weird way, when I was in college and I was like trying to come up with a way to talk about like politics on like a comedy show, I thought of this idea of having 3 different puppets talking to each other, but it was all my voice, because I could basically argue with myself.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of tool. And like, you know, you and I both do this kind of thing professionally. I was just talking to someone recently for a video about why it's important to have like 2 to 3 people talking about the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because everyone talks about it a little differently. And so for each individual audience member who's watching this video, they're going to respond to different explanations or different aspects of each person's explanation.
Absolutely.
So like you put somebody like me in to say it in like the simple way, and then you put somebody else in to say like the technical version.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you mix them up basically to try to get to as many people as you can. And music's the same thing. It's like the drums and the vocals and the guitars are all different voices. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What is a song that makes you feel productive?
My Girls by Animal Collective. I love a song that pumps you up to accomplish things, especially when it's like when it celebrates ordinary things in life. Like, you know, this is just like this big song, this like with these Beach Boys themes in it too, which I think relates to the celebration of like the mundane domestic life, because I think there's a lot of that in Beach Boys stuff too. But in this one, it's just like, you know, yeah, I'm just gonna work hard and earn a life and like take care and support my family, and like that is something that is worth getting as excited about and ecstatic for as any other experience.
Yeah. So this is like I'm not sure. When you're talking about like being productive, what did you have in mind exactly?
Oh, just like, just getting like, finding the energy to just do the things that need to be done, like getting your work done, getting this stuff done.
I get that. Yeah. It's like, to me, when I was thinking about that song, I was like, this is like a sending emails song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are days where I just have to write like 10 emails, you know, like that's the most important thing I have to do, and therefore it's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But that's like you're just like cranking it out, because with Animal Collective, with the vocals and everything, you can kind of let it be sort of like this. It can kind of wash over you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to like key into the lyrics because they're very sort of spread out and ethereal. So it can be almost like instrumental music.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes I can listen to like John Prine songs and still be productive, like, you know, even though it's like mostly about words.
Yeah.
But in Animal Collective's case, like that's perfect. Does it ever bug you that the chorus of that song goes, "I don't mean to seem like I care about material things," instead of just saying, "I don't care about material things"? Like, I know you need the extra syllables. But I'm like, wait, so do you care about material things or not?
I love wordiness and being verbose, and I kind of gravitate towards the aesthetics of language more than its function.
Sure,
which
I get that.
Makes me feel very alienated from contemporary literature. But yeah, so that's something that I would enjoy more than be like, no, could tighten that up a little bit.
You know what? You've made me accept it too.
Awesome.
Now. So it's funny because as far as like that Animal Collective album, you know, I was always I was like a summertime clothes guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's a lot of that. It's that Animal Collective obviously is a lot of like weird synthesizers and stuff, but that music in particular is like, it sounds like a bunch of like cranking and grinding gears or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? It's like, it's so like buzzy and clicky that you're like, I don't even know what this is. All right. What's a song you associate with a bad memory?
Our House by Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. I guess you could throw him in there too. One of my favorites, but should probably be included in that.
Yeah.
1 year for my mom's birthday, my brother and I learned how to play Harvest Moon by Neil Young. So we performed that. This was during COVID when I had we were all in lockdown and working from home, and I had time to like teach myself how to play the harmonica as well. Yeah. So we did a little like 2 acoustic guitar and a harmonica version of that song for my parents, you know, which was like the best moment of their lives because they go crazy for my brother and I doing anything with a guitar. Like I could fall on top of a guitar and my dad would like weep with joy. So it was a really big moment for them. And then it became like, okay, well, every year was like another song I was going to learn and perform. And this one was the breaking point for that because I just couldn't get it down right. So I keep going back to it and trying to like perform like a little, you know, solo acoustic version of it. And I just can't get the chords correctly. And so it triggers this bad memory of like not feeling like I'm failing, like I'm letting my parents down.
Huh. That's cute, actually. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because there's like, there's a lot of songs that that I've like tried to learn, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just not happening.
Yeah.
You know, and I just walk. But you kept at it, and in so doing, you've ruined this song for yourself.
I'll light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today. Staring at the fire for hours and hours while I listen to you play your love songs all night long.
I have this new phone, and I was recording also like on the voice memos app on the Google phone, and it transcribes what you're recording as you're saying it. Like the transcription is just rolling in, which is freaking me out.
Yeah, I'm just discovering a lot of those captioning tools and stuff now because that's like apparently essential for, you know, TikTok success or anything else is that everything has to have captions on it now. So trying to put all those things in, I'm like, wow, how does it do that? That's so good.
Yeah, I know. I use Otter as a transcription service where you can just drop any kind of audio file in and it'll transcribe it. And you can spit out like an SRT file, but the problem is with like Instagram, you can't use that. You can't put an SRT file on. So I have to manually caption all of my. I mean, it's not that hard. You're just like posting text into like a Photoshop template, but you know, there's a lot of files on my computer that are just like 1.png, 2.png, 3.png, 4.png, and then it's like, you know.
Yeah.
But then also because of the way Adobe Premiere works, you can't if you number past 10, then they show up in the wrong order. So my numbering system is actually like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 1, 9, 2, 9, 3, 9, 4, 9, 5, 9, 6. So yeah, it's there's probably a better way, but you know, what are you gonna do?
I know. Like everything I do at work here is like, you know, just like, yeah, this is what works for me. There's no way this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, no.
Do you ever have moments where you're like you're listening to a podcast and it stops, and then the next one starts and it's you, and you're like, oh, because that happens to me all the time. Because I'm subscribed to my own podcast, right? So yeah.
The only thing I think about is volume.
Yeah.
So I will hear a podcast end, and then my podcast will come on, and I'll be like, man, that's like half the volume. And I did everything I could to get it as loud as I could without like popping and clicking.
Yep.
And it's like, what am I not getting?
Yeah.
You know? And that happened when we recorded the Relative Isolation album. Like, we had it mastered, you know? And I was like, what did that guy do? Like, how come he can make an MP3 that's louder than the MP3 that I can make? Like, what do I not have? And I still don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you can like push up against the decibel limit of everything. And you can go all the way up to the point where it's popping.
Yeah.
And then you can pull back a little bit. And then you put on another podcast and it's double the volume.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is that?
What do you edit in?
Audacity and GarageBand.
Okay. Do you have like an effects chain for the editing process? Like a standard one? Okay.
Nope.
I
do
mean,
it differently every single time.
I do in Adobe Audition, and I do the same thing for Premiere, but it's always multi-band compressor, parametric equalizer, and denoise, and just like the whatever broadcast setting is in there, put like a -3 dB like brick wall limiter, and then equalizer just boost both ends and like 5% denoise, and it usually sounds pretty good. I don't know.
I do a lot of manual volume adjusting in Audacity, like just looking visually at the waveform.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go a little too far. I could hear that in the last episode that I put out. I hear there's a couple of spots when it's clearly transitioning from one segment to another, and like for 2 seconds before the volume drops, like 2 decibels, and it's the kind of thing where I obsess over it, and then people are like, they're like, nobody can hear that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I can hear it, and I feel like it still makes a difference. Yeah. But I also know I'm a little bit of a stickler about that stuff.
Well, you've also carved out a very specific style in which you never know like what you're going to hear during the podcast. Like at any moment, music could start playing, you know?
Yeah.
Or so it's like, so anything I hear, I'm like, okay, that was intentional, and I just don't get it.
Well, you do have to when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? It's like, you do have to trust that like, okay, I don't necessarily know all of what I'm doing or why I'm doing all of it. I thought that with the most recent episode of the podcast, which was like very collage-y, you know? I was like, I don't totally get why I'm compelled to keep this in here, but I feel like it's something I'm going to understand later. And sometimes that's true. Like, you kind of go into this like emotional fugue state, and you're like, I don't really need this part about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, but I feel like it's a reflection of something else that's bothering me. Yeah. And so I'm just going to keep it here because eventually it's going to find its way out of me. And then I'll go back and I'll hear it and I'll understand why. Yeah.
Actually, talking about the most recent episode of the podcast, I did want to express how sorry I was for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
For what you went through. I'm really sorry. And I don't know. I know we don't really know each other, but if I'm happy to be available for you if you ever do need someone to talk to. I'm sure you've got a very robust support network, but you know, if for some reason you need somebody to reach out to, I'd be very happy to talk to you.
I appreciate that. What I have learned over the last couple of months is that I'm actually really bad at reaching out. You know what I mean? I'm really bad at saying like, oh, I'm in a bad place.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of learned to get a little bit better at it. I've been more honest with like my friends who I normally just kind of like ask them about themselves and talk about TV shows, you know? Yeah. Like I've done that a couple of times and it mostly feels good. And sometimes it feels like I would have rather just talked about TV shows and forgotten about this stuff for a couple of hours. But it's like, I don't know. It's like I've reached the point in my like mental health where I'm like, oh yeah, I got to start saying this shit more often. Like I can't just keep letting it stay in my head. Yeah. But you know, at the same time, I was like, let's do this mixtape podcast for the summer because the podcast is becoming such a bummer. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, it's just like death and angst and depression, and I gotta like. And there's a part of me that thinks I can kind of like claw my way out of it by like thinking different things and like feeling different feelings.
Yeah.
And I gotta find them. You know, like, all right, what else can I think about? What else can I occupy my mind with? It's like, how much more stuff can I like watch and read and whatever? It's like, how much more can I dump into the void? So yeah, I'm just trying different stuff, but I appreciate it. Yes,
absolutely.
It's definitely, you know, I don't know. I always want to say like, I feel like I'm turning it around and it's like getting better, but it's like, I always think that, and then it's not true. So,
I often sometimes feel afraid to like feel better, you know, to let go of something, like a sadness, or you know, in me or something. I don't know. Do you ever feel like that? That like you don't like it feels wrong to be over it, or to get past
literally the only time I felt that is like with the miscarriage, because it was like. I know what it's like to have a kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that process. And it's like, oh, it's so weird to do some of that process and then not end with the tangible result. You end with nothing.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, I don't have anything except for the pain of this. So you kind of want to try to find a way to make that a part of your life forever.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing you got. And so in that case, yes. The rest of the time, I'm actually like pretty good at like I like getting out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I will be in an absolutely horrible apocalyptic mood, and then I'll put on the right song, right? And just be out of it, and like it's over. And it's sort of. It's like a little bit upsetting sometimes to be like, how'd I get out of that so fast? But I also think I need to be able to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That was one of the big things I worked on in therapy was understanding that you don't have to feel ashamed or feel negatively about just what your emotions are. That it's okay to feel these things. That's
true. And I feel like it's funny because I do feel like in a lot of my interpersonal relationships and stuff, I'm like the guy who like gets it going. You know what I mean? Like I'm like the funny story guy.
Yep.
I'm like the person people look to fill a silence with something amusing. And I like being that. You know, I like being that guy.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to change some of my relationships. Where I don't have to do that, you know. It's hard for me to let go of it because I feel like I don't know. It's stupid. I feel like I lose part of my image or something. You know, I feel like that with my like public persona, like with the podcast. I feel like I lose something by going like, hey, I'm having a very hard time, and like my like life that I have frequently presented as like beautiful and idyllic is like not that a lot now. And and so it's hard to admit that because you feel like you're breaking something.
Yeah.
In a very weird way, it's kind of like when you find out someone that you liked from like a TV show or a movie or something is like when they get canceled. You're like, now that colors it, right? So like, I've heard from people that they like draw comfort from certain things that I've made and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't want to screw that up for you.
I definitely have, am one of those people, but I also feel like you're very versatile and you've done so much over your creative output for these years that like I'm along for the ride on whatever you want to put out.
Well, I appreciate that.